Hello everyone, my name is Julia Candelaria and I am the Marketing Director here at Life Counseling Solutions. Today I am joined by Jessica Lipsey, one of the counselors from our office. We are coming to you today to do an interview that is quite possibly one of the most hard and emotional interviews we have done so far. As for those of you watching, if at any point during the duration of this interview something hits home with you or you resonate with something we're saying, I encourage you to seek out resources available to you. At any point in this interview, you can call our office at 407-622-1770. Additionally, you can seek out local resources in your area, and our counselor Jessica will help you with that in a little bit. So let's begin by talking about why we are here doing this interview today. I'm sure many of you heard about the recent passing of Chester Bennington. When I found out that my favorite singer of all time, from my favorite band of all time, passed away due to suicide, it was like a part of me was ripped away. It hit me so incredibly hard enough to motivate me to say, no more. No longer will depression claim any more as its victims. You know, a lot of interviews have been done recently about Chester, but I think that they haven't been focusing on the underlying concern, and that is depression. So we are sitting here today because we are standing together with you to fight this. Depression is something that needs to be taken seriously. Speaking from someone who has gone through it myself through my early teenhood and who has recovered from it, I can honestly understand how hard it is, how real it is, and how scary it is. Because depression, it's like sitting in the car of your own life and you're in the passenger seat and depression is behind the wheel. Depression is like a never-ending cycle of negative emotions and thoughts that just won't go away. Depression is like standing outside in the hottest and brightest day of summer and still wondering when the sun is going to come up. But we are here today because between the battle between you and depression, you are the only one who's going to come out victorious. And going off of that, I would like to bring up some statistics so you can help me diagnose this. According to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, on average, there are 121 suicides occurring every single day. And for every single suicide that does occur, there are 25 attempts. Jessica, these numbers are just, they're startling. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So for those of you who may not know, Jessica is the addiction specialist at our office. And so what I would like to ask you, Jessica, is I know that Chester had struggled with addiction. I know that he was recovering from it. Is there a correlation between addiction and depression? If you have one, are you more prone to having the other? Can you explain that for us?
Julia, this is such a hard topic to talk about because it touches so many people's lives, and many of us know somebody that might have gone through this. With addiction and depression, what happens is a lot of people who go through addiction, they will describe to you this feeling that they've had of incomprehensible demoralization, where you just reach a bottom and you feel like you're at the lowest of the low that you've ever felt in your entire life. You feel empty. And essentially with addiction, it's almost like a slow suicide. You're slowly dying from this disease. And so I do believe that the two go hand in hand.
Right. Very powerful information, Jessica. I can definitely see how one could definitely trigger the other. For those of you that are watching, Jessica actually did a prior video if you're curious to learn more about addiction after watching this one. On our Facebook page, if you go to our video, there is an interview we did on Tiger Woods and his DUI, and Jessica talked a little bit more about addiction, but today our primary focus is going to be on depression and suicide. Jessica, I understand Chester had such great influence on this earth. You know, he was well known by so many people of high status. As a celebrity, do you think that being under the spotlight as much as he was had anything to do with him feeling depressed?
From what I understand from seeing clips of him in the past, he talked about how this started in his childhood. This didn't really start after he had all this fame. However, with that being said, individuals who are public figures that go through different trials and tribulations and their life becomes publicized, whether they're going through rehab or going through any kind of challenge or legal issue, when it becomes publicized, it's like the secrets that we tend to keep to ourselves or keep to our family is out for the entire world to see. That can, I imagine, and just increase the shame that somebody feels and that he probably felt with what's going along. So while I can't say that it caused what he was going through, I mean, it certainly didn't help.
Right, and I can definitely comprehend how for anyone who's under the spotlight, it just makes everything harder because there's so much pressure placed on your shoulders, and it's like one mess up you might make could just trigger so many different things. So I definitely see exactly what you're saying there. So Jessica, what exactly are the signs to look for someone who might be experiencing suicidal thoughts, whether it may be a friend, a coworker, a family member? What should we be looking out for?
Whenever we assess for suicide, we're looking at it from a low to high risk. And there's a lot of different specific red flags that you could notice in somebody else or maybe even in yourself. The types of things that we often will hear from somebody who is experiencing this is they're feeling hopeless. They feel like the walls are closing in. They don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. They don't really want to live anymore. And the things that are really concerning is if they have a previous attempt to end their life, if there is a history of suicide in their family or somebody close to them was able to do it before, and also if somebody starts to have an intent, a real intent to follow through with suicide, a plan, and they're preparing to do it, they're starting to get the process going. And that's the things that we really look at as well. So we look at, are they talking about it and thinking about it frequently? And do they have a plan? Do they know how they're going to do this? And then if they have a plan, do they have the means to carry out that plan? What that looks like is if they say, I could shoot myself. Do you have a gun? And then also the intent. And when somebody does really intend on doing it, they start to do things like giving all of their things away. They write a letter to their family. And when we start to see those concerns, then it's when we really want to start looking at it and taking it very, very seriously.
Vital information, Jessica. Thank you. I think it's important for all of us as individuals to keep note of people, even if they're not that close to us, and just notice these signs, because I think that's very, very valuable and important. Jessica, what should we do if we notice someone who might be showing these signs of being suicidal?
There's a lot of different things that you can do, and first and foremost, really try to understand where they're coming from. Putting yourself in their shoes and meeting them where they're at and being there with them in this painful spot and seeing the darkness and not really moving forward quite yet. I worked for the National Suicide Prevention Line, and what we would do is we would really reflect a lot on what they're going through and being right there with them, and then moving into the conversation. Eventually you get to the point where you ask them, are there things that you can look forward to in the future, or what reasons do you have to live? And really being there and listening to them is one of the biggest things that anybody can do. From a intervention side, there are a couple of different things that you can do if somebody is seriously at risk. There is a mobile crisis unit that is now available for Orange County. And what this is instead of a cop coming to your house and doing what we call a well check and seeing if you do need to be institutionalized and go to the hospital for up to 72 hours, instead they have a group of individuals, including a therapist, that come to your home and they talk to the person who is in this place, and they help decide whether or not they do need to go there. But it's just much more approachable, and it's a really excellent resource, and people can use that by calling 211, and then they'll send the group to go out to an individual who is struggling. And so those are some things that you can do from a friendship or family perspective, or if we need to do an intervention immediately.
Awesome, Jessica. I didn't even know that resource actually existed. So that's really cool to know that they have kind of changed that and made it a little bit easier for people who are struggling at that point. So in closing, I want to just bring up a powerful, powerful message to those of you that are watching right now. Jessica, if you knew that someone watching this right now was thinking about ending their life, what would you say to them?
When somebody commits suicide, it doesn't take away the pain. It really transfers the pain to everyone around you. This pain eventually subsides. It goes away. No pain is permanent. There are ways out. There are options. I know it's so hard. I know when you're in it, you feel like the world would just be better off without you. You genuinely, to your core, feel like everybody would be better off without you and that there isn't a reason to be here. But I want you to know, whatever it may be, you have purpose. And whatever that purpose may be, could be the thing that later along the line could save somebody's life. But that can't happen if you're not here. So please don't hesitate to reach out, talk to somebody about it, whoever it may be. It can be a friend, a family member, a pastor, a counselor, a crisis line, the National Suicide Prevention Line. There are a lot of different resources, which we'll give you at the end as well, to contact if you're in this place. And just know that you're not alone. We are here too if there's anything that we can do to help guide you in that process as well.
Powerful, Jessica. Thank you. What I want you guys to take away from watching this is to not give up and to have hope and to keep holding on. Additionally, if you would like to join us in this fight, I have created a campaign which I will link in the comments below at the end of this video, and it's called the Onemorelightmovement, and it's made in Chester Bennington's name. And the reason I created this campaign is because I think that this is a growing concern, and I think we need to bring awareness to it, and I think we need to increase our prevention methods. And I ask you and I challenge you to stand with us in this battle and to overpower it, because we can do this. If you are interested, please, I ask that you pledge to join. And when you join, there are resources linked in there as well under each action, so you can actually find local resources and support networks through there. The ultimate goal is to create a positive support network through this campaign of people just lifting each other up. And even if you don't feel like you need to do this for yourself, do it for someone else, because you never know who out there could be struggling right now. So I want to say thank you, Jessica, for taking the time to sit down with me today to discuss this very, very important concern. And I know that this was very hard and very emotional. And I ask anyone, again, if you are struggling, to reach out, talk to your friends, talk to community members. You can call us again if you need to, 407-622-1770, and just don't give up. Thank you.
Can I help you not to hurt anymore? We saw brilliance when the world was asleep. There are things that we can have but can't keep. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment